Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020, 10 a.m. Central, in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Well, it's Tuesday, and that means it's a cartography and world building day. And I decided today will be a cartography day and that we would focus on the Forge Studios. I think it's really nifty, the Forge Studios. They've got so much cool stuff. I'll add their drive through RPG link and Patreon link down in the show notes for later so that you can find them if you wish to find them. If you're a DM, if you're a player, you know what? It's just kind of cool to look at their stuff, right? You don't necessarily need it. Maybe if you're a player who's ever thought about DMing, then looking at their stuff will inspire you to then pick up some of their stuff and try your hand behind the screen. They've got some pretty nifty stuff, I gotta say. What I want to do, I know what I gotta do. I gotta bring this over and boom, boom, boom. I guess we can just do this. Yeah, here we go. This will work. Let's pop back over to the big screen and have a look at what they got going on Drive Through RPG. Let's have a look at all their stuff. So, categories for his artwork. And I should mention, some of it's illustrations. It's not all cartography. But I was drawn to them because of the cartography. And that's how it goes. Maps. Tolis, which I think is when I first noticed their work. He does some characters. He does some illustrations of buildings and settings, pastoral scenes, and urban. A lot of medieval fantasy. He does a bit of sci-fi too. Evening session maps. Let's just go straight to, you know what? I think the way to look at this is newest titles in this section. 5 useful buildings. There we go. Pop back here, do this thing. So you'll notice that his style is kind of gritty, right? That's what I feel. I like its old worldliness, if you will, but also that grittiness that he brings to it. He does these simple maps, which you'll see include colorized versions, right? Side view, overhead view, which is very useful in environments that beg to be used for their third dimension. And if you need to show this to players, very helpful to have that. We'll take a look at another one while we're here, right? But we'll jump past simple villages as we continue on our little tour of side view, overhead view, right? Slightly walled town, fenced in town. Look over here at the top right? You have this sort of wooden fence thing going around that depicts Maybe they don't want their cats getting away. Cat could get over a fence. It's not about cats. Maybe they don't. Maybe they want to let their chickens roam free. Here, let's take a look at this. Machines of War. Here's a science fiction illustration pack. That's pretty neat. Who nifty? Oh, Tolis is that weird setting. 3rd edition. Yeah, that's that Monty Cook setting. It was a huge setting book, city book, that I think his artwork, Maciek, if I'm pronouncing that right, I hope I am, Zagorski. If you look over here on the right, you'll see his name. He, I believe, helped unify that setting to make sure that it all had a look that you could get behind from beginning to end. That's pretty neat, huh? This little mech with a gun. Looks like there's a pod you can get inside this. I don't know. Maybe that's just machinery and workings in the interior. Maybe there is no room for a pilot. Depends how big that is, right? We can say it's as big as we want. So we're looking at new stuff. Let's, you know what? Let's not go too far because I want to... Common Places, 25. Another one of his various lines, if you will. Product lines. Now, this one, check that out. Open up top. See the openings? Pretty neat. It's at a walkway, a gate. This is an entrance or exit from a town. Let's have a look at the quick preview. It consists of a red quarter map, a ground floor plan, first floor plan, second floor plan, third floor plan. So ground is, for those of you speaking USA, ground is first is second is third is fourth. A perspective drawing of the theater. So this is the district with a theater in it, which is pretty neat. And this is the zoom in on the theater look of this quarter of a town, right? And there's that out view of the theater. That's why we have it open, because you got to have a lot of ventilation when you're packing that many people. And here are the seats around in the balcony area. And of course, if you've ever heard the term groundlings, that actually originated in Elizabethan theater, Shakespeare's times, with all of those who paid just enough to come see the show but couldn't afford a seat up on the benches would stand around on the ground in front of the stage, and they acquired the name the Groundlings. Of course, there's a now famous improv theater out of Los Angeles. Has been around less time than Second City and the bunch from Chicago and Toronto. But the Groundlings, Upright Citizens Brigade, a few others have their homes as improv theaters out in L.A. So we're getting each floor, because remember, there are balconies with benches on each floor of this building. And then the highest one, of course, can go across the opening, across the gate. So this is interesting. You have some seating up above behind the stage. I don't know, unless you are doing something out in the open courtyard, some sort of a display or show. Pretty neat, though. And these mirror each. These are the same on each page. backing. Just one is ungridded. The other is, it's kind of like, here's a player's map, and here's a DM's map where you put the notes on, and you've got all the behind-the-scenes information. All right? And this way you can play it out any way you want. He gives you 16 pages in this, so he gives you all the options. So if you ever wanted to run a adventure in a theater, medieval, Elizabethan, I guess, but, you know, medieval fantasy, this works. He's got the district where the theater resides. He has the theater and extensive floor plans for the entire theater. He's got a drawing. The famous Rapier Wit Theater, he calls it, on his page there. Landscapes of Future Tech. This is kind of interesting. Oh, we don't want to. Let's go back. There we go. Hope this doesn't change too much. There we go. Okay, I want to open in a new tab so that I'm getting that view. We'll look at the cover real quick. And you know, I'm just showing off his work today. But I want to give you a full taste of what this guy does. That's pretty neat, huh? What do you think? Is this, are these like the vehicles, the cabs that we saw in Westworld? Similar to that, I think. We'll take a look inside on this one. Get the publisher preview. That pops open a full PDF. Of course, it's riddled with this, so it foils the usage of it by those who might be scurrilous enough to try to use this without paying the artist his due. And let's face it, folks, this is the thing. The world over, artists have to, if artists struggle under normal world conditions, if you will, these poor bastards and bastages, is that, I don't want to be gender exclusive here. These poor people, and I'm not saying they have to be poor to be artists, but let's face it, that's the trope, that's the conceit, right? The starving artist. Well, you know, anybody who does art for a living, it's a labor of love. They are working very hard. They are putting their skills to the test. Somebody shared a story of the fellow who went up to the artist and said, "Hey, can you draw my RPG character? I've been watching you do other people's RPG characters, and I'd like you to do one for me." He says, "Yeah, you know, I do that for $25 here at the convention. Take about 15 minutes. You get $25 for 15 minutes worth of work?" The guy comes back and he says, "No, I get $25 for 30 years of training. I'm giving you the 15 minutes. I'm putting that onto your character." So keep that in mind. You know, art school, time spent studying the craft, learning, practicing, working, getting better. And you get artwork like this from somebody who's working so hard. Jump in and buy a couple of his things, and use them in your games if you're a DM. Here you go. Great Cities, number 11, number 12. He must have popped these up at the same time for that to be backwards like that. But let's have a look at one of those. So he's got a lot of different categories, product lines. We'll look at the map, the cover image. Beautiful work, huh? It just looks really nice, right? And there's that great city up on a outcropping that recharts the direction of a river. Let's have a look inside. Full preview. Great cities. There's that cover again. Here is a color illustration, followed by a black and white illustration of the same. Both lovely. Then we get into some detail on what he does. Now this is in Polish, I believe. I hope it is, because I'd hate to be... And an advertisement here for his Patreon site. We'll have a link for that in the show notes as well. But there's a nice little cross-section of all the different types of buildings he's drawn over the years. And he has a lot of stuff. There are different levels of support on the Patreon site. You can just get in for a couple of bucks and have access to stuff that he's already put out and stuff that he's putting out in the future. You can pay a bit more like I do and have that access, but also have rights to use it in commercial. Now, I'd been buying his stuff from the Forge Studio on Drive-Thru RPG and RPG Now. The stuff that had commercial license possibilities. I've been buying this stuff from him for years. Piecemeal. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like this. I'll pick this up. I'll use this someday. And just kind of stockpiling it as I do. Oops. Yeah, let's go back. And just this year with the pandemic, I decided to add in... Obviously, I think I've said plenty of times before, Dyson Logos has been somebody that I've followed and have supported through Patreon for 7 years plus now. CSP, Chris, Crooked Staff Productions, now Crooked Staff Terrain, somebody that I've followed and supported on Patreon for quite some time. And he doesn't have, he has a, if you follow him through, if you're a supporter through Patreon, which I am for him, he has a special thing for people that like to use, want to do stuff in commercial works. Where was I? I was on 12, wasn't I? Let's open this back up. Oh, we saw everything on there. We want to look at something else. So these are the main three artists that I support through Patreon. Dyson Logos, CSP, Chris, Crooked Staff Productions, and the Forge Studios. Now, I picked them up early in the summer. I think I started supporting them up at a higher level to get the commercial. But you don't have to... I mean, if you want to support them even higher than necessary for not using it commercially, just having access and wanting to be able to help them out as much as possible, by all means, you know, stretch your budget open and give till it hurts. Oh yeah, I want to see this. Want to see this building here. This will be lovely. Take a peek here. Look at this ramshackle looking. That's what I love about his. Nothing is neat and clean. I guess to a certain extent his science fiction stuff has got a neat and clean look to it, right? So once again, this is another building, the fortune teller's house, within that same district as the theater. So he's placing all this stuff in a similar location. And because the This is back and forth, right? So we can get an inside view and a player's map when it becomes necessary for them to get the full picture and get a top-down look. But look at all you're getting with this. There's a basement, right? Lower level. 19 pages, $1.50. It's crazy. Now, admittedly, some of those maps, the district map or quarter map, whatever you want to call the area of the town map, is repeated in both of those products, and rightfully so, because this is how you tie them all together. But I don't think anybody complains at $1.50 that two products have one page or 2 pages that are the same when they're 16, 18, 19 pages overall. Commonplace is 27. Let's take a look at this Clash one real quick here. Here we go. $4 for this, all right? This is a commercial. Can be used in commercial products. So those tend to be a little more pricey, right? Now this is very specific. This is like a wizard creating or letting loose a fire elemental or a demon from another plane or some such like that, right? Accident in the alchemist's workshop is what he calls it. Obviously, if you pick up something like that, you're doing one of two things. You're either building an adventure around it, or you're writing a story and using it as an illustration in that story for one part of that story. Could be the impetus for the whole story, right? You'll have to dig up other illustrations if you're going to illustrate a book. Maybe you need, I don't know, on a novella, maybe you need a half a dozen. If you're going to do any illustrations at all, you probably want a decent number of them. Maybe this is just a black and white cover image. Maybe you're going to take it, put color to it, which is perfectly fine in the commercial license rules. You can't resell it as clip art. You can make some changes to it. You could cut out the demon and just keep the explosion and make some adjustments to it. What you do have to do is make sure you mention his name and the Forge Studios company name. Series must list the name of the artist whose artwork they have used and the Forge Studios company name. Most times, that's Mr. Zagorski. So keep that in mind. Let's take another look at, okay, well, we know where Commonplaces is going to do more locations, right, in that district. Here's a neat one, Forge Locale. This is a different line than we've been looking at thus far, so let's see what we have here. The Maw of Pestilence. Lovely looking little. Is this 2 dungeon entrances on the side around a hill? Is this a mound, a burial mound? Let's see if he says something in here. Created for game masters who are short on preparation time or looking for new ideas, Forged Locales presents a fantasy adventure location ready to develop. Additional text by Douglas Zielsdorf outlines conceptual, historical, and overview material, as well as adventure hooks for each location, intended to be truly system neutral. All that remains for the game masters to do is insert specific monsters and treasure and other details directly from their own games. Keep what you like, discard what you don't. Instant adventure. Forge Locale, number 2, The Maw of Pestilence, features maps and illustrations originally appearing in evening session number 6, detailing an ancient sundered burial mound for your heroes and adventurers to explore. So yeah, a burial mound. let's do the quick preview. Pretty nifty. It's a wall section there and a skull. Is that background information thrown in there, the present day info, the mound environs, so it gives you detailed descriptions of the locations, the mound interior, top layer, lower layer. Nice little illustration there too. We've got adventure hooks here. So, 11 pages, $3. Everything except you plug in a couple of wraith or some whites or maybe just ghouls, depending on what level of play your players' characters are. You can make it just about any way you want. I'm going to just do a quick check on a couple others here because I want to show off some more of his work, some other features of it. Maces, he does a lot of spot illustration kind of work. All of this available for commercial use, as you can see from the bottom here. Link to his Patreon there. $3.50 for 5 maces. What's that, 70 cents a mace? Not bad. Another environmentals, temples. Here's another one that will have commercial use. Also, I'm going to pop right to the publisher preview because that's the full size thing, and we can get a look inside. Illustration, maps for each place. Here, right, all these various temples have little maps associated with them. Boom, boom, boom. Here's a nifty one. A bridge coming across. Tough to get there, huh? Interior of this place. Partially underground, as you can tell by the way this is all sunken down. But stairs come down when you come in, up to the altar on the other side. Really neat. You get 5 quick temples with floor plans and illustrations, $6. You can't beat that. You've got 5 locations that you can just kind of flesh out in your game. Tollgate, maps for sale, those are pretty neat. Here's a bunch more illustrations. Here's bags, chests, books, all sorts of stuff like that. Lovely. Gaming aids, Lair of the Worm, those are more like those spot locations that give you more places to check out. And as I said, I'll put a link in the show notes, but here's a quick look at the Patreon page. Or do you say Patreon? I say Patreon. He's doing okay on his Patreon, is what I say. But go check that out. See if you want to sign up. It's not showing me the options there because I'm already signed up. So you'll have to check that out on your own. Just to close that down, and I'm going to say we're about out of time. So I'm going to wind her down there. Thank you very much for following the show and chiming in on chat there, Henry. And oh, there's Excel too. There you go. Beautiful. Do appreciate it. Let me get your names over on the over on our list. Yeah, I keep a list of followers from every week, and I pass along something groovy, some sort of an item to somebody at random from my followers based on this list. So if you're following the channel, chime in the stream chat. If you do, I'll add you to the list for that week, and you could possibly get a nice this week. What do we got going this week? Oh yeah, a pair of those skull dice and a single Lake Geneva Games dice that were blessed at the Gary Gygax Memorial Stone. So there you go. That's pretty cool. My only stipulation, I should say this since this isn't a virtual thing like the last 20 weeks or whatever. Um, I do this for the continental USA for free. I'll just ship it. If you're outside of the US or Alaska or Hawaii, where it's going to cost more to ship it to you, I might ask you. I might ask you to help out on the shipping, or I might give you an alternative, some virtual thing that you can take instead of the physical thing. Up to you. It's a giveaway. It's not meant to, I mean, I'm not asking you to book the whole freight. I would pay whatever, you know, whatever my part could be that would be similar to what it would be to ship it somewhere in the U.S. And we'll take care of it. We'll figure it out if it comes to that. I'm not sure it will. I will say, come check us out tomorrow, 10 a.m. here, and we'll just do a little campaign discussion. We got GMing tips on Thursday, building adventures on Friday, GM reviews on Saturday, a rules retrospective on Sunday, weekly news and announcements on Monday. That's when we do the giveaway announcement, and back around the horn to cartography and world building next Tuesday. If you're catching up with this on YouTube, thank you very much. Please do subscribe to the channel and do us a favor and give a thumbs up to any videos that you watch and enjoy. And if you have some constructive criticism or an attaboy or a pat on the back, feel free to make comments in the comments section. Never hurts to help us make the show better, and we do appreciate it very, very much. This has been the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Bye-bye.